Hey guys, it's your girl YEARR. Welcome to another YouTube video. As you can see in the title, today I'll be showing you again how I do my butterfly and textured locks. This video will just be a more in-depth video. I'll give you certain tips and guidelines, and I'm also going to show you how I extend my locks and make them so flexible. So as I mentioned in my first video, I use either YEARR or twisted up spring twist hair. I also discovered the Lily spring twist hair and I also used that. So I'm gonna take one strand of spring twist hair and I'm gonna fluff it out as much as I can. Okay, so I'm just freezing the video here to remind you all, first you need to part the hair out into smaller sections and braid the client's hair. You can either braid the hair straight down, or you can start with a braid and then twist the hair straight down. I'm gonna take my crochet latch hook and use that to pull the spring twist hair through the roots of the braid. Okay, so for flexibility, as you can see, I'm not adding in any Cuban twist hair, any African key hair as a base hair. I'm not using any base hair. I'm just gonna use the client's natural hair, the braid that I did, as the base hair for my lock. Now, when it comes to the root of the lock, you want to make sure that it's tight so that the lock wouldn't easily slip out, it will stay in place. So what I do is I wrap the spring twist hair about 3 to 4 times around the root, right? So I tend to split the hair into 2, and I take the top part of that hair and I'm gonna wrap that around the root so that it kind of folds in under what I already wrapped before, so that the root will be tight. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but you can look at what I'm doing. Okay, so how do I get the butterfly effect? I use the thumb method. Some people use the pull out method. Some people just wrap and just pull hair out of the lock after, and that gives them a butterfly effect. What I do, I use the thumb method. Now the thumb method is simply just using your thumb to pull out the hair that's going to be peeking out of the lock. So after I wrapped about 2 to 3 times, I'm going to take my thumb and push it through the spring twist hair. Now the hair that remains wrapped around my thumb is the hair that's going to remain peeking out of the lock. Now you can push your thumb through the spring twist hair, let's say half, to split it in half. You can split it 3/4, you can split it 1/3, right? It really doesn't matter. It's according to how thick or how much hair you want to be picking out of the lock. So after I stick my thumb through, I'm gonna wrap over my thumb, let's say about 2 or 3 times, and then I'm gonna pull the hair that's on my thumb and I'm gonna wrap under my thumb twice, and that's how I get the butterfly lock effect. That's how I get the hair to peek out. Remember guys, I'm simply showing y'all how I do my butterfly locks. This is a bob lock, right? So as I reach to the end of my lock, coming to the end, and I realize that the hair is starting to finish and I still have hair remaining at the bottom, I'm gonna split that hair at the bottom in 2 and use that to wrap over my lock. Now I continue doing my thumb method until I think that I've reached the desired length, and I'm gonna wrap until the lock starts to get really thin, right? Then I'm gonna act as if I'm doing a finger coil and then turn it upwards and wrap the hair, and then I'm gonna just keep wrapping until the hair is no more. Some people use nail glue to seal the end of their lock, but I do it from time to time, but not all the time, right? After I do that, I'm just gonna palm roll the end of the lock, and that helps to make the hair tangle up more and wrap up on each other so it wouldn't unravel. Okay, so that's all. That's how I achieved a butterfly bob lock. So for the second example, I'm gonna show y'all again the thumb method and how I do it. And I'm also gonna show y'all how I extend my locks without using any Cuban twist or African key hair as a base hair. I'm just gonna extend the lock using the same spring twist hair, and that's what's gonna give it the flexibility and the soft look that it has. So going over the steps, when I'm doing the roots, in order for it to be tight, I wrap 3 to 4 times around the roots. I split the hair in half and use the upper half to wrap under the hair that I already wrapped before, right? Then I wrap again and I'm gonna start the thumb method. I chuck my thumb through the hair midway to split the hair in half, to split it 3/4. It's according to how thick and how much hair I want to remain. After I push my thumb through, I'm gonna wrap twice over my thumb, and then I'm gonna pull the hair that's on my thumb and wrap under my thumb. And that is literally how I do the thumb method. It's the method that's easiest for me. It's the method that I love. I don't think I'm gonna try any other method of doing butterfly locks. I might, I don't know, probably lying to myself, but for now this is the most comfortable method and it's working for me and I just love it. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I extend the lock. So after I wrap straight down the lock and I realize that it's about 4 to 5 inches remaining, I'm going to take another strand of spring twist here and I'm going to fluff that out, right? After I do that, I'm going to measure the hair so that one side is significantly longer than the other side. Now the side that's significantly longer, that's the side I'm going to use to wrap on the lock, and the shorter side I'm going to use that to determine the length, how long the lock is going to be, right? So I'm going to add that here under the lock that I was already wrapping, right? So as you can see, the shorter side, that's what I'm going to use to determine the length of the lock, and the longer side, I'm going to use to wrap on the lock. So extending in order for it to stay and to not for that piece that I extended not to fall off of the lock, I'm going to wrap upwards up the lock about 4, 5, 6 times. Actually, I go with my instinct. I go with how much times I think I need to wrap for it to stay in place, and then I'm going to start back wrapping downwards and do my thumb method as normal and seal off the lock just as I did before. Wrap until it gets thin, do a finger coil motion, wrap, turn the lock upward and wrap up the lock until there's no more hair. And yes, also sometimes when I'm adding in another strand to extend the lock, I use nail glue as well just to seal the lock. Most times I don't like to do it because I feel like the glue gives the hair a little white. It makes the hair feel hard in that certain spot, and it also tends to leave like a little white residue, and I hate to see that. So I just leave the hair and wrap up the lock most times without using any glue. So yes, this is how I do my butterfly locks. This is how the first two came out, the one that's extended and the one that's not. Now I'm gonna show you all how I do my textured locks. Now a lot of people like to ask, like, what's the difference between butterfly locks and textured locks? There is a big difference. The butterfly locks have hair peeking out all over, while the textured locks gives them more like a more realistic look, right? To start the texture lock, I do the same thing I do when I'm starting a butterfly lock. I wrap about 3 to 4 times at the root to make sure that the root is tight. Wrapping a texture lock is way easier than doing a butterfly lock. Some people don't use a specific technique. Some people just wrap using the spring twist here after they fluff it out, and it gives them a smooth texture look. What I like to do though is while I'm wrapping, every time I wrap over the lock, I like to do a finger coil method and then wrap again. So that gives the lock a kind of bumpy but smooth textured look. That's why I call it textured locks. I also forgot to mention that I use 1 strand of spring twist here when I'm doing my textured locks, unless I'm extending the hair, of course. And I like to fluff out the hair as much as I possibly can when I'm gonna do a texture lock. I end off the texture lock the same way I end off my butterfly locks. I wrap until it starts to get thin, do a finger coil method, turn it upward, wrap until there's no more hair, and do a palm roll to finish the lock. Okay guys, so I'm gonna show you all again how I do the texture lock, this time how I extend it. There really is no difference on how I extend my textured locks. I literally extend it the same way I extend my butterfly locks. some other tips that I want to give y'all. When I'm starting the lock and I pull the hair through the roots, the spring twist hair through the root, I also do as I'm doing when I'm extending the lock. I pull the hair so that one side is significantly longer than the other, and I use the longer side to wrap over the hair, right? The short side I use to estimate how long I want my lock to be, if I want it to be a bob lock. Yeah, so that's basically everything. That's all my tips I have for y'all. Make sure not to wrap too tight, but don't wrap too loose either. You have to know how exactly it needs to be perfect when you're wrapping, because you don't want the hair to unravel easily. You don't want the hair to be too tight that it looks smooth. You know, butterfly and texture locks is a more rumpled look, right? Is a more distressed look. It's not something that needs to look smooth, okay? So you can't wrap too tight and you can't wrap too loose. And that's basically all the tips and guidelines I have for you today. You can continue watching the video. Right here I'm showing you how I extend the textured lock, where I wrap going up just as I did doing my butterfly locks, and I wrap and then I come back down and finish off the lock. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Please watch out the video. I love you so much. This is how I get my textured and butterfly locks. I hope this video was more in depth and you all understood better how I do my locks. So yes, I hope you all like the video. See you all in the next one. Bye.